So as you can see here on the X10S, it blinks when you plug the charger cord into the transmitter. So there's something wrong here. And I suspect that thermal sensor is not actually on the battery. But I'm not sure. Need to figure out what's going on, and the company that makes the battery has not gotten back to me. So this is the battery I received from Amazon, where they claim it's compatible with a Horus series, in this case the X10S, and it says it's compatible with quite a few of the Horus radios. But the Horus radios have this thermal chip in them. I got this from Aloft Hobbies a number of years ago. And without this chip in there, the internal circuitry of this radio will not charge the battery. It needs this chip. And apparently this chip is a thermal sensor that I guess monitors the temperature of the battery, and if it doesn't see the thermal chip, it just will not charge the battery, period. Then on the Aloft forums, they're talking about these two pads here. That if you short out two of these pads, I forgot which two pads it was, you have to reset this board. So now I'm wondering if that's the problem with this new battery. Maybe they didn't do the reset on this chipset, and that's the reason why the Horus is not charging the battery. So I don't know. I'm not sure, because without cutting the heat shrink off of this, I can't tell. And if I cut the heat shrink off, I have no chance of returning this battery to the Amazon seller. And the Amazon seller in this case, they don't ship by Amazon. And anything that's not shipped by Amazon, in my experience, has been a pain to deal with as far as getting a refund. It's fairly convoluted, and a lot of times you don't get your money back. Or sometimes I say you shouldn't get your money back. So I don't know. I mean, I paid like $22 for this. It's an 18650 cells in here. So I'm thinking maybe I should just cut the shrink off and see if the chipset's in there. Try shorting those two pads out if the chip's in there, and if not, take the one I bought from Aloft and solder it in. Haven't decided what to do. I did write to this company over here, and they did not get back to me. But I couldn't find anybody using Google search that has tried this battery in a Horus radio. I decided I'm not going to wait. I need to know if the chip's in there, because I have a feeling this company's never going to get back to me, and dealing with Amazon on this return is just going to be a pain in the butt. So I'm going to take the covering off, and we're going to see what's in this battery, because I would love to know if there's even a chip in here. I have a feeling there's nothing in here, because it's going to be somewhere underneath this green protective material. It would not be in the individual cells. It's going to be something here. And so far there is no chip here. So let's pull off this bottom green layer. And yeah, I mean, there's no chip in here. You can tell. This company is completely a bunch of liars. There's nothing in here. And there's no chip. Complete other fabrication of, it's a lie. This battery would never charge on the Horus radio because there is no thermal sensor chip on here. Web description clearly stated this was chipped. There is no chip here. Nothing. It's really annoying when companies do this and they just downright lie about things. And here you can see you can see the cell they're using. It's a An 18650. Alright, well, at least now I know this company, Sino, Cameron Sino here, they're a bunch of liars. Alright? This battery would never work on a Horus radio because there's no chip in it. Obviously, I'm going to leave a really negative review on Amazon about it, but it's not the seller per se. I can't blame them. They don't know. But this Sino company, they certainly know what they did. They know exactly what they did. Alright, well, I'm going to find out how to integrate this board into this set of batteries since I bought this from Aloft. See, this is the sensor. This is going to have to go against the battery so it can monitor the temperature. And then I guess if the temperature gets too high, it cuts off the charging circuit, so it can't charge it. There's quite a few chips on here too. I mean, this is not simple of a circuit. But I need to figure out how to wire this in, because I don't want to cut the shrink off of this battery right now. This is on page where I got the battery, and as you can see right in the description, new fully decoded chip works just like the original. Well, there's no chip in that battery, so it's a complete lie. They don't provide any sort of a chip in there. That's exactly the radio I have, and it obviously doesn't work. So definitely avoid this battery. I've already given it a negative review. And down here they said, you know, email reply 24 hours. Yeah, well, it's been well over 24 hours and they never got back to me. This really just ticks me off, nonsense like this. Wasted my time. I wanted a simple solution to get a battery in there quickly, and I had to spend, you know, several hours diagnosing the problem and then soldering in that board. Luckily, I'll give credit to Aloft Hobbies that they had that chip available a few years ago when I bought it, when I found out that the battery in there is just not a simple battery. For curiosity, this is what the FRSky pack looks like. I could not find a wiring diagram anywhere online that made sense on how to wire this chip up, so I have to cut the shrink off the battery so I could see how this is wired up. And you know, they use Samsung cells. Those are considered the best out there, so they definitely used a good battery. I don't know what that pack that I bought, what kind of brand that is, if it's any good or not. That could be another issue, that they used a really cheap cell. No way to really tell. But I'm going to put some shrink on this, and I'll put the link to the shrink that I got from Amazon in the YouTube description in case anybody needs it. You need 55 millimeter shrink to house around two 18650 cells, and then it gets a good tight fit when you shrink it up. For hooking up the chip, use the connector that came with the radio. Hook the red to the P+, the yellow to the T, and the black to the P-. Then flip the board over, and the positive of the battery goes to the B+ on the right, negative goes to the B- on the left, and then on the other side of the battery, where the plus and minus are connected together using the solder tab, run a wire, in this case I use the yellow wire, to the BM tab on the chip. Then, once it's all installed, you're going to have to short out P- and B- so it works correctly. Without the short, you don't get any power to the radio. Okay, so this is the trick to getting this to charge correctly. I don't have the back cover on yet, but I have the charger cord going into the bottom left of the charger, and the key is that light is not blinking. Without the charger circuitry in there, or the thermal sensor in there, that light blinks, indicating there's a problem. It's not going to charge the battery. So when that blinks, it means it's not charging. While finishing up this video, I got an email from Amazon that my review went live. I looked at the review, and then about an hour later I went back to look at it again, and the seller took the entire listing down, so it's no longer there. But there are other sellers still selling that battery, But surprisingly, nobody is listing the battery as having the chip any longer. So they apparently took the chip word out, but the battery's not going to work. So avoid it. I mean, you're just buying two 18650s at that point that can't be charged in the radio. And I don't know of anybody else right now that is selling the battery with the chip in it. I guess the best thing is to contact Aloft Hobbies and see if you can still buy the chip, or dissect your current battery and get the chip out of there if you need a new battery.